Hey guys, it's Sharon. Happy almost Halloween if you're watching this video on the day it was released. If you're not, hey, I hope you have a great normal day that isn't the night before Halloween. But anyways, I have been doing a brand new series called Fright Nights, and this is my second to last video in that series. You know, it'd be really spooky the night before Halloween, talking about Halloween murders and mysteries. So these are actual, like, true stories that have occurred on Halloween or like the day after, day before, around Halloween. So that being said, if you would like to see more videos like this, I have a bunch more that I have uploaded throughout this week. I've been uploading a video every single day for a week leading up to Halloween, and I have scary true stories and scary ghost stories that are from you guys. I have scary myths and legends, I have serial killers, I have unsolved mysteries, most haunted places, so many spooky things. So if you'd like to see more of those, definitely give us a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. And of course, you can follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter so you can have a say in my videos and even get a chance to be in them. And if you would like to see more, definitely subscribe for more. But all that being said, go grab your spooky snacks and your spooky tea, and let's get into this. This first one happened in Halloween of 1981. So during the early mornings, a Manhattan couple named Ronald Sisman and Elizabeth Platzman were murdered in their apartment. Their apartment was located near Greenwich Village. They were severely beaten before being shot in the head execution style, and the apartment was completely ransacked. Sisman was rumored to be involved with drugs, so authorities thought that that was the motive for the killings. However, the case took a turn when police were informed by a prison informant that one of the inmates told him that they predicted the crime weeks before it happened. The inmate turned out to be the notorious son of Sam, aka David Berkowitz, the serial killer. In 1977, so 4 years before, Berkowitz was convicted of a serial shooting that killed 6 and left 7 wounded. There's speculation that Berkowitz was part of a satanic cult and he didn't commit all of the son of Sam murders on his own. According to the informant, Berkowitz had told him that his cult was planning on entering an apartment near Greenwich Village on Halloween night. They would perform a ritual murder by shooting the couple in the head before ransacking the place to remove all incriminating evidence. When questioned about this, Berkowitz claimed that Sisman had snuff footage from one of his son of Sam killings. Snuff footage is basically when you have footage of a murder. He also claimed that Sisman was planning to hand that footage over to the authorities so he can get some charges taken off of him. While there was no evidence behind what Berkowitz was claiming, he was able to give an accurate description of the Sisman apartment. No one knows if the murders had anything to do with the son of Sam murders themselves, but to this day it's still unsolved. Now, on Halloween night in 1977, 19-month-old Nima Louise Carter's parents placed their baby in her crib at their Oklahoma home. The next morning, she was missing. The windows in Nima's bedroom were locked, so it's theorized that her abductor had actually been hiding in the house and waited till the parents put her to bed to abduct the baby. A month later, a group of kids were playing in this abandoned house, and when they opened one of the fridges in the house, they discovered the body of a little baby, and it actually was identified as Nima Louise Carter, who died of suffocation. A similar crime occurred in the same town in Lawton, Oklahoma. A pair of 3-year-old twin sisters, Mary and Tina Carpenter, were lured out of their home by a young woman and kept in a refrigerator, also at another abandoned house. When the sisters were found after 2 days, Mary had suffocated, but Tina managed to survive. Tina identified her abductor as a local teenage babysitter named Jacqueline Robideau. Question mark on pronunciation. However, the child's age made her testimony unreliable, and there wasn't enough evidence to file charges at that time. Jacqueline eventually became a babysitter for Nima, and of course she was an obvious suspect in the case, but there wasn't enough evidence to incriminate her. Years later, Jacqueline was finally charged with Mary Carpenter's murder and given a life sentence. She died in prison of liver cancer in 2005, but never admitted to the unsolved murder of Nima Louise Carter. Now, on Halloween in 1979, the unidentified body of a woman was found in a concrete culvert near Interstate 35 just outside of Georgetown, Texas. The victim appeared to be in her 20s and was sexually assaulted before being strangled to death. It seemed likely that she was murdered that same day, and the only clue to her identity was a silver oval-shaped ring on her hand. The victim was nude, and the only garment of clothing she had on was a pair of orange socks. Since she was never identified, her nickname became Orange Socks. Years later, serial killer Henry Lee Lucas confessed to the murder of Orange Socks. However, Lucas did not know the woman's identity. He claimed he picked her up while hitchhiking and only remembered that her name was Joni or Judy. After being sentenced for the woman's death in 1984, Lucas recanted his confession in order to have his sentence commuted. Investigation investigation actually showed that Lucas was likely working in Florida at the time of the murder, and he was notorious for confessing to murders he didn't commit. That being said, no one is sure how many people he actually killed. Henry Lee Lucas died in prison in 2001, and Orange Socks is not the only unidentified murder victim he has been connected to. On the morning of November 1st in 1980, a truck driver discovered the nude body of a teenage girl next to Interstate 45 just outside of Huntsville in Walker County, Texas. The victim had been sexually assaulted just before she was beaten and strangled to death. Since the young girl was never identified, she became known as the Walker County Jane Doe. It's estimated that she had been murdered several hours before her discovery, and a potential backstory began to emerge when witnesses came forward claiming they saw her and even spoke to her. After being led out of a vehicle by an unidentified male at a nearby South End Gulf station, Jane Doe had reportedly asked numerous people for directions to Ellis Unit Prison, claiming she had plans to visit a friend there. However, when her photograph was circulated amongst inmates at that prison, no one admitted to knowing her. Later that night, a truck stop waitress had a similar interaction with this girl. The girl claimed she was 19 years old, she was from the Arkansas Pass area, and she implied that her parents didn't care about her. Since this girl was killed exactly 1 year after the Orange Socks murder, and there were numerous similarities between the two crimes, Henry Lee Lucas was considered a possible suspect. However, there was never any solid evidence to connect Henry Lee Lucas to the murder, and the Walker County Jane Doe remains unsolved and unidentified. On the morning of October 31st in 2004, a housekeeper at the Hilton Resort and Marina in Key West, Florida, found the body of a newborn baby girl in one of the restrooms in the lobby. The child still had the umbilical cord and even the placenta attached to her body. That indicated that someone recently gave birth to this baby and put them in the trash bin. Hours earlier, a young pregnant woman with 3 other men were seen in the lobby. She entered the ladies' room while the men waited outside. At one point, a female witness went into the restroom and heard the woman moaning in the stall. When the witness asked the 3 men if they knew the woman, one of them claimed to be her boyfriend. He even called out her name at one point, like Samantha or Sonia. The woman was in the bathroom for about 40 minutes, and a security guard saw her clutching her stomach when she finally exited. When the guard asked if she was alright, she said she just felt sick because she had partied too much at a nearby fantasy fest. The 4 individuals were escorted out of the hotel, but the child was not found until the next morning. Fingerprints, blood samples, and DNA were taken from the washroom and compared to several suspects, but their identities were never discovered, so no one was prosecuted yet. On Halloween night in 2002, a 21-year-old student at the University of Minnesota visited a bar downtown. His name was Chris Jenkins. After leaving the bar around midnight, Chris vanished without a trace. He remained a missing person for 4 months until his body was finally discovered in the Mississippi River. Since Chris was still wearing his Halloween costume, it's indicated that he died shortly after he disappeared. Chris was heavily intoxicated that night, and since his cause of death was determined to be drowning, authorities initially believed that it was an accident or a suicide. His parents refused to believe that and pressed for a more thorough investigation. Finally, in 2006, the death was reclassified as a homicide. While the authorities have withheld specific details, they claimed that an incarcerated suspect told them he was present when Chris was murdered and thrown off the bridge into the river. Even though the police believed this man's story to be credible, no charges have ever been filed. However, one possible theory is that Chris Jenkins could have been a victim of these smiley face murders. During this time period, about 40 male college students in the United States were victims in a bizarre series of drowning deaths. In some of these cases, unexplained smiley faces were found near the scene where the body was found. This had led some to theorize that these deaths were actually murders, not suicide and not accidents, and that they're all connected and the victims were drugged before being thrown into a body of water to make their murder look like an accidental drowning. While no smiley face graffiti was ever found in connection to Chris Jenkins, investigators cannot overlook the similarities in the cases. I did go more in depth about the smiley face murder theory in my serial killers video, so if you'd like to check that out, definitely feel free to. Now lastly, on Halloween in 1955, Marilyn Damon took her 2 children to a supermarket in East Meadow, New York. Her son Stephen was 2 years old and her daughter Pamela was 7 months old. While she went shopping, Marilyn let Stephen wait outside the store with his baby sister in a carriage. 10 minutes later, Marilyn exited the store and was shocked to discover that Stephen and the carriage were gone. Shortly after, the carriage was discovered about a block and a half away, and Pamela had actually been left inside the carriage, but Stephen was nowhere to be found. He hasn't been seen since. Over the years, DNA testing has been used to see if Stephen has been given a new identity. At one point, investigators noticed that Stephen had a resemblance to the mysterious and notorious boy in the box case, but it was later proven that they were 2 different people. The boy in the the box is from an identified boy that was found murdered in a box in Philadelphia in 1957. In 2009, a Michigan man named John Barnes came forward saying he might be Stephen, but DNA testing also ruled this out. It's possible that an adult Stephen might be living a different life elsewhere and have no idea that at one point he was taken from his real family. It's sad that a lot of these cases are very common in the sense where when there's a really young child abduction, it is possible that the person who took them couldn't have kids of their own and wanted kids of their own and is now raising this kid as it was their own child. Aside from it being really sad, it also has more hope because maybe this kid is out there somewhere and he is wondering like, hey, well, what's my real history? Like, I don't feel connected to my family. And then there's a possibility of him discovering his real family. So there's the tiniest bit of hope, but it's still really sad no matter what. But anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this a thumbs up and let me know what you thought. If you have your own theories as to what happened to some of these, go ahead and comment them down. I always welcome your theories. If you have some other cases that you would like to share with us, also comment that down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this series as much as I did. We do have one more video left tomorrow, and that is going to be embarrassing Halloween stories. So a little bit on the lighter side. Now, shout out of the day goes to Jelena or Jelena. I don't want to mispronounce on Instagram, but thank you so much. If you would like to be shout out of the day, just follow me on my Instagram and stay active. And of course, like I mentioned, this is part of my series, part of Fright Nights. I have uploaded a spooky video every single day for a week. So if you're into this kind of stuff, I do have a serial killer video, I have unsolved mysteries, I have haunted places, ghost stories, true stories, legends and myths, so many things. So I got you, sis. There is a whole playlist on my channel. Now, of course, if you'd like to see more, definitely subscribe for more. But all that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!